Alright, Travis Wayne Goodsell, back from my run. I woke up at 1:15-ish, 1:13, something like that. But went right back to bed. Then woke up at 3:51, and then woke up at 4:11. During that 3:51 to 4:11, I had a dream. And in that dream, I was in a desert field, and I could see across a subdivision housing, and saw two rooms belonging to two sisters. Well, yeah, it's whatever. And so I wanted to get to know them. And so I snuck into the house, and the Leah sister caught me. She wasn't ugly by any means. It's just that I had my sights set on the other sister. She wasn't there at the time, or what? So that's the thing with not reporting it as soon as you wake up. But the other sister came, and I then started spending time with her. And it was all fun and games. There was a dog with bling that actually ran away and ran to where I had been watching out in the desert field. Why people would torture such animals with bling. Poor thing. But the mother then came into the picture. I'm not sure if I can recall whether there was a father in the picture. But we were now in the living room with the kitchen in the same area, and then there was another room, all of the same room. There were no wall divisions. And so I was able to see the mom in the kitchen, and was there in the living room with the two daughters, the two sisters, and the Rachel all of a sudden stood up and said, "Who wants to go to church?" And I remember thinking to myself, oh man, I chose the wrong one. But I hadn't made the decision yet, so technically it wouldn't matter if I started being more attracted to the Leah. But yeah, everybody knows that when you're dealing with two sisters, the story of Rachel and Leah come up. Jacob, who usurped the tribal leadership from Esau, the hairy one, had a polygamous family, whereas Esau went and married Judith, even though she was heathen. Hey Mom, you're a heathen. But Judah, the house of Judah, is the queen of Judah. Thus Judith, is of the house of Judah. But Interesting that the usurped kingdom from Esau is Jacob, the usurper. And he becomes a polygamist. Now, the story says it's not his fault. He had no choice if he wanted to have the love of his life. But nonetheless, I find it very interesting that polygamy is through the usurped kingdom. And so, let me go over with, well, I doubt Judge First has done anything, because I saw Venus this morning. But let me check while I'm here. We're only at 6 minutes. I'm getting hungry. I saw Venus rising this morning, and that has to do with the church. So we'll get to that. No, she did nothing over the weekend. She is still delaying. She did nothing on Monday. There's nothing reported on here either. So Judge Oberg is delaying justice to deny justice. You can't hesitate. This is an open and shut case. The church failed. They lost. And you got caught up in it. You have no other choice now. Alright, so one thing I am wondering though is she waiting for the 4th of July? That's Independence Day. That's when America declared independence from a monarchy of King George. And as a result, a battle ensued to preserve our independence. Unfortunately, despite winning, those who wanted a kingdom on American soil for a monarchy rather than a constitutional republic, not a democracy that the Democrats are pushing for because they know they are in the majority vote. That's what a democracy is a rule of the people, not representatives of the people. It's just the people according to a majority vote. And so the Democrat Party is trying to deceive and trick and use this to their advantage to try to get the masses to side with them to take back the kingdom from Trump. And it ain't gonna work because Trump has it all rigged. You may think, oh no, Trump's gonna lose. And the Democrats are going, yeah, we're gonna get him. Nobody showed to his rally. Yeah, K-pop got him. Yeah, but who controls the voting machines? Putin controls the voting machines. And so if Putin wants Trump to continue, Putin will make Trump win. And all our efforts to overthrow and dethrone him and coup d'etat America's coup d'etat will fail. Nobody understands that. Nobody gets it. And we're all going to be shocked. Oh no, how did this happen? Trump was losing and now he won? Oh, he got the popular vote this time. How did that happen? Nobody likes him. Don't be fooled. Nobody likes Trump. The people who do like Trump were emboldened because he won. And they went around slaughtering people as white supremacist crime skyrocketed under Trump. But anyway, back to Venus. Venus is the girl. Venus is also the sign of Lucifer. Isaiah 14:12, 2 Nephi 24:12, the plagiarized version, how art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer? It comes from the Latin, which means it came from the Vulgate translation of the Bible during that period of time. And and so as a woman, she is the bride also, because people are kind of wondering, how is it that a female is associated with Lucifer? And that's how. Because Lucifer is the man, Venus is the bride of Lucifer, which technically Mars, if you've been paying attention to my star interpretations of the latter days, each planet is assigned to a specific character of the latter day biblical prophecies, so that the signs have meaning. They're not just signs in and of themselves, so that you can actually know that the sign is the sign for the second coming, rather than just speculating and saying, oh, I now declare that this sign is the sign. You can't do it that way. You have to have an understanding of the underlying historical interpretation to understand who gets to be what. And so, yes, Mars has already been identified as Russell M. Nelson way back in February 2017. There was an incident on that day that let me know that's him. So I've been paying attention to Mars all this time to see if, sure enough, it corresponds with Nelson. And sure enough, it corresponds with Nelson. Remember when he gave that youth talk and established the Hitler Youth Battalion? Guess where Mars was on that evening? Yeah. At the inverted pentagram goat beast, Capricorn. Right there at the mouth. So, yes, that's what you have to do in order to know that the signs in the heavens are the signs in the heavens for the latter days. You can't just wait for the president of the church to tell you, because he's not going to tell you, because he's the false prophet. Sorry, Mormons, that's who he is, because you are Venus, the members of the false church of Lucifer. And how do I know that? Because you are the church. The bridegroom, or the bride to the bridegroom, who is Nelson, who is of the apostate Church of Lucifer, the usurper of Joseph Smith's organization, Brigham Young, who put the inverted pentagram all over the place, having conquered Joseph Smith. Put it on the Nauvoo Temple, dedicated the Nauvoo Temple on the Illuminati anniversary of May 1st, the Illuminati being that inverted pentagram symbol, which then infiltrated the Scottish riots, of which the Youngs and the Kimballs were a part of. And thus they found out about the Smiths being the ones who prevented their takeover in 1826 for the election. I think it was the election, wasn't it? Let's see, let's go back from 44, 40, 36, 32, oh, they were going to do it in 28. Interesting. That's when the election, I guess, would have been held. I'd have to check to make sure there were no variations in the 4 years, but 28, that would make sense. They find out that they were infiltrating to take over America 2 years in advance to set things up. Interesting. Okay, anyway. And so, yeah. And Venus is the morning star. It's always rising in the mornings. But Venus never becomes the sun at noonday. It's gone. The authority of the sun extinguishes the light of Venus. Right now, it's twilight. You can see Venus. Oh, she's bright. But the sun is coming. The sun is rising. The son is about to be born. And he will be raised up to be the noon sun. Amen. Amenel. Emmanuel. King Emmanuel, as Joseph Smith called him. Lucifer never is Jesus Christ. So yesterday, when I found that Mormon website talking about how Lucifer, the symbol of Venus, is Jesus Christ, I was furious. But I refrained for the video. They lied. Venus is not the symbol of Jesus Christ. It is the symbol of Lucifer, who wants to usurp the authority and position of the Son, Jesus Christ. Emmanuel. Because it rises before the sun. It goes before the sun to say, hey, I'm the sun, follow me. Remember Mormon doctrine, Mormons. Remember Mormon theology about Lucifer. So don't get fooled by anybody in the church trying to tell you that the inverted pentagram on the keystone of the door of the Salt Lake Temple and the foundation stone on the keystone of the Seagull Gate represent Jesus. Remember, Nelson, in this last conference, placed Jesus, which is actually the statue of Jesus, the Christus, on top of the cornerstone, which he called the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Jesus is the cornerstone, not the church. But he flipped it, and all Mormons fell for it, as he is murdering you, having slowed down the shutting down of the church, then shutting down the church, and then reopening the church, and now claiming, oh, coronavirus is taking away your free agency. Bednar. Man, do not put Bednar in my presence. I will immediately beat the hell out of him. God. Woosah. Alrighty, so I did the star symbol of the thing. So yeah, I'm thinking that she might be waiting for Independence Day to give a symbolic gesture to give us a declaration of independence with her order to side with me. I'm hoping. I don't want to wait that long. I've been waiting far too long. The baby is due. It's been over 9 months. Maybe from November. Let's see, December, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So the baby's premature then. Let's hope that the baby's premature from November when I filed the amended complaint. And how is it premature? It seems perfectly fully developed. Are you sure you didn't have sex the month earlier? No, we didn't get married until the following month. No. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to also add in this video. And so we're doing it here at the end because this is the porn version, and I have to use coded messages because YouTube would throw a hissy fit if I were to talk about real sex ed and use the actual descriptions. So we'll use coding just as the Doctrine and Covenants, the Joseph Smith history, the Joseph Smith translation, the Book of Mormon, they all were encoded. And church service missionaries only decoded many of the Doctrine and Covenants coding. They didn't get to anything else. So, men, they all have a Urim and Thummim. I hope I can make this through without busting up laughing. They all have a Urim and Thummim. The Urim and Thummim continually gives revelation to the possessor. It builds up and builds up over time, and then when it's full of revelation, it sends that revelation to the third eye cobra. The third eye cobra then gives authority to the serpent staff. And the serpent staff takes the Ark of the Covenant with the house of Israel following behind and parts the waters to enter into the promised land, the dry land of the promised land, where the house of Israel is raised up, and technically the father becomes the son, son becomes the father concept. That's sex ed for men, and a little bit with women as well, as women will catch on to that. If we don't get taught this, we end up having a lot of confusion, a lot of heartache, a lot of sickness, a lot of pain. It's important to teach sex ed, but the Church of Lucifer does not want you to know the truth, does not want you to know the way things are supposed to work, and instead causes the sexes to argue against each other over the symbolism of our sex ed. So understand that men can't control just as women can't control. And so there are symbolisms that need to be taught so that the two can be unified and become one, even though they're, as Adam and Eve were after they were created, naked and not ashamed. And with that, I close this video. I did tell you that Jesus is the bridegroom of the church when I talked about Venus, the church members, yeah. Because, Virgo, the constellation Virgo, the woman, which is actually the Virgin. Virgo, guys, come on. It's not a woman. She has to have birth first. But she's the authority because her crown is the 12 stars, with the addition of the 3 stars. And so, yeah, the woman gives authority. Thus, in Egypt, the king always had to marry his sister in order to secure the blood of the Canaanites, which DNA has now shown, though Joseph Smith was correct, the Canaanites are of the blood of the kings of Egypt. I also forgot some important key features in my dream as I'm looking at the notes that I had taken before my run. When Rachel said, "Who wants to go to church?" I, of course, said, "Yeah, I'll go." But then, clever as I am, I decided to teach them from the Book of Mormon. So I asked them to get their Book of Mormons, and I was going to go over I was going to teach, how do I explain this simply? I was going to go over First Nephi, the first part of Nephi, when Nephi says the language of the Egyptians, learning of the Jews. And then I was going to go to the brass plates to talk about the brass plates being an Egyptian, and talk about the not languages of Hebrew and Egyptian, and how they also became altered. So I was going to try to see if I could convert her away from her traditional naivete that the church was good. So that was one thing. And right before I woke up, I saw on one of the microwaves or miniature ovens or whatever it was, the time of 3, just the number 3. And I asked, "Is that the time?" And they said yes. And so I said, okay, I've got 45 minutes. So those are some important things from the dream as well. So I'm not exactly sure what that means. It could be the weekend of July 3rd, 4th, and 5th. The 3rd is going to be the celebrated day. I'm not sure if the courts are going to be out of session that day. I would imagine so. So maybe Judge Oberg is waiting for the 2nd on Thursday to file. And then it'll sit in the clerk's office that whole long weekend and come out on Monday, which would be the 6th. And so after the full moon, which is in conjunction with Jupiter, which is in conjunction with Saturn. And I've already identified Saturn is the judges in this filing. So let's hope and pray something's going to happen one day. I hate it when it keeps getting pushed up.